Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm new to here and I don't think I need to do an introduction. I think the title is pretty self-explanatory. So let's talk about all the books I want to reread. Rereading is not something I do often. I want to change that. So I'm going to start off with all the series I want to reread that a lot of these are purely nostalgic. So first one being Harry Potter series. I read this a long time ago. Ooh, that's very reflective, isn't it? I read this book like ages ago, like everyone else. I don't think I need to explain it to you because even if you haven't read the Harry Potter series, I feel like everyone knows what it's about, so I'm not going to talk about it too much. I remember getting the last book. It was after school, and my mum took me to the bookshop and got the very last book in the series, and I was absolutely excited. I don't know whether to do like a series about it because I want to watch the movies alongside these. So I don't know whether to do like a reading vlog for these or for any of these books I want to reread. The next one, now this is in a box set. So when books are in box sets, they are very difficult to get out. So I have the Divergent trilogy with 4, which is about Tobias. Yeah, which is about Tobias. It's like his little story. Oh, how can I explain Divergent? Got a movie adaptation with it, but it kind of flopped a little because it was on the coattails of the Hunger Games. That's my opinion on that. Oh, I really can't explain the series. Again, I feel like it's popular enough where I don't feel like I have to, but it's got something to do with different factions. There's like 4 different factions, and I really can't remember the factions. It's been that long. You see why I want to reread? Like a lot of people's least favorite book was the last one. A lot of people hated that one. It did have a lot of scientific talk and scientific terminology in it, and me being older, I want to see if I can understand more because the third one was like very science heavy. Yeah, I want to see if I pick up on it. I want to see if I enjoy these a lot more. And again, excited to be rereading these sometime in the near future. This next one, a lot of people may not know, and this is the Feed by, it's the, oh my god, what is the News Flesh? I always get confused. I think it's the News Flesh trilogy. So this is actually a trilogy, but there is a 4th one that kind of is the same. Book 4 has the same events that take place in book 1, but we just follow different characters. In this one, cancer is cured, but in doing that, a zombie apocalypse happens, and people run these blogs, so the internet is still a thing. And I remember really loving it. It made me really fall head over heels in love with Myra Grant's writing. If you don't know, Myra Grant is the pseudonym for Seanan Maguire. And yeah, I really enjoyed this. I love zombies. Zombies are pretty, I don't want to say awesome, but I love zombies. I love zombie movies, TV shows, books. I actually want to find more zombie books, so if you have any recommendations, please let me know. After reading the trilogy, I kind of forgot what happened. There is kind of some sci-fi elements in it, especially in the second and third one. If you didn't know, it also follows a political campaign, and these siblings, Georgia and Sean. Oh, yes, I've forgotten about that. So they are Sean and Georgia are bloggers, right? So they're blogging the whole experience of being in the campaign trail with this presidential candidate. I've forgotten that there was a conspiracy behind the zombies. I really did. Oh my gosh. Yes, I remember now. So yeah, I want to see if I remember a little bit more, because me reading that little bit about there being like a conspiracy behind the zombies made me remember something. So yeah, I'm very excited to be rereading this. I really love her writing though. Like, Myra Grant's writing is gorgeous, and I broke the spine a bit because it's not really a floppy paperback, so I'm sorry, spine. We then have another incredibly popular trilogy, The Hunger Games. I want to reread this. I feel if you don't know this, where have you been? Again, like with Harry Potter, I don't really need to say too much because I think everyone knows what it's about. So 12 districts compete in a Hunger Games arena to survive, and it's all very dark. As you can imagine, 12 boys and 12 girls from each district are forced to participate in the Hunger Games. I think it's like an annual thing, and it's set in like the near future, and like the task is simple: kill or be killed. And there's this conspiracy. Well, I don't know if there's like a conspiracy. Again, it's been a long time and I really want to reread these books. I love the movies as well. The movies, oh, the writing is nice and big. Anyway, the movies have aged beautifully, I feel like, and I wonder if the books are the same. So I'm very curious about that. With a lot of these books, I want to read the book and then watch the movie alongside it. And anyway, getting back to the plot of the story. There's this rebellion that sparks during the Hunger Games, and it's basically a revolution, people revolting against the capital. We have a very popular, very well-loved, well-hated book series, depending on which camp or which side you fall under. I have Twilight I want to reread. Now, after reading Midnight Sun, yes, I have read Midnight Sun and I enjoyed it. I did. I don't want to say this is my guilty pleasure because you shouldn't feel guilty for the things you love, especially the books you read. And that reading books that are controversial or well hated does not reflect who you are as a person. Just because I read Twilight and Harry Potter by a very controversial author does not mean I agree with the things that happen, okay? It's all enjoyment, people. Twilight, it's about a young girl who moved to Forks, Isabella Swan, who moves to Forks, and she meets up, she basically bumps into or has this kind of unhealthy obsession with Edward, who is a vampire. Him and his family are vampires. And ever since my mother had said that it seems like Bella has some sort of mental health issues, my mind just kind of twisted a little bit. Holy crap, I kind of saw it in a different light. And being published in the early 2000s, I don't think this book is purely romance, and no, I don't think it does have the best portrayal of romance or anything in it, but hey, I still really enjoyed it. As I was saying, I'm getting off topic here. After reading Midnight Sun, I just wanted to reread it because I had forgotten so much about it. I think I was thinking about the movies because I think I remember the movies a bit more than the books. Movies are easy to watch, books take a while. So, yeah, I want to reread this sometime in the near future. I don't know when. Because I've forgotten some things, and it made me realize that the books are different to the movies. Okay, the last one for this series before we get into the standalones is a trilogy that I feel like is very underhyped. That is, oh my god, what's the series called again? Anyway, I think it's the Passage trilogy by Justin Cronin. Now, these books are pretty hefty. The basic synopsis I can give is a little girl who is here to save the world. It's kind of like a chosen one trope. As you can see, the books are quite big. They're 900 pages long. Each of them are. They're very long books. And it's got to do with vampires. Oh my god, are they vampires? Again, quite big writing. And again, this is the first editions of these books, and look, you're kind of breaking the spine a little bit, and oh, the poor books. Anyway, so it's about a little girl here to save the world, and it's vampires, I believe, if memory serves me correctly. It has been years since I've read this book. Between each publication, there have been between 2 and 4 years between each publication because it is a trilogy, so between the first and second book was 2 years, and between the second and third book was 4 years. So I have forgotten a lot about what happens. Don't bother with the TV show. There is a TV show adaptation. Don't watch it, okay? Completely ruined it. It really, truly did. The reason why I actually bought this book was because Stephen King blurbed it and he really enjoyed it, and so did I. I actually remember more of the third one. Let me show you the third one. I remember more about the third one than I do with the first one, only because it was like the recent-ish book that I read, even though I read it like a few years ago. It was like still one of the most recent books in the series that I read. I don't know when I will get to these books because these are fucking long. These books are huge, so I don't know when I will get around to reading them, but I hope I do because I really want to experience it again. Me reading a lot more bigger, denser books, I want to see if I pick up on anything or if I understand things more. Those are the series. Let me come back in a minute for me to get the standalones. I will be back because I've got to put this pile away and then get the standalones. I will be back. I'm back now. Let's talk about all these standalones I want to reread. First one we have is Far From You. It is a young adult thriller. So on the back it says, Mina is dead, her killer's running free, and no one will listen to me. I'll let it push me forward hour by hour. It follows Sophie, and I believe, if memory serves me correctly, she had a very horrific accident which led her to be a drug addict, because this also follows her addiction with painkillers. She has been recovering for 9 months, 2 weeks, 6 days. 4 months ago, like, her best friend died, her best friend being Mina. Everyone believes it was a drug deal gone wrong, but Sophie believes it was a setup. Only Sophie knows the truth, but she and Mina shared a secret, but there was no drug deal. Mina was deliberately murdered. She is forced into rehab for an addiction she has already beaten. Sophie's finally out and on the trail of the killer, but can she track them down before they come for her? I don't remember too much about the thriller aspect, the mystery of how Mina died, but I do remember there being female relationship. We have Looking for Alabrandi by Melina Marchetta. This is like a coming of age. It's a Australian author. It's an Australian novel, and it's a coming of age story about who you are, who family is, and I don't remember too much, which is why I want to reread this. The next one I want to reread is a book I have already read before, and it is Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. This has got like the most basic, vague kind of synopsis about this. It's about this guy who lives in this house that's kind of got wonders. It's got a labyrinth of halls, thousands upon thousands of statues, the tides that thunder up staircases, the clouds that move in slow procession through the upper halls. And on 2 days, on a Tuesday and Friday, Piranesi not follows, but sees his friend, the other. And at other times he brings tributes of food and water lilies to the dead, but mostly he is alone. And these messages begin to appear, and it kind of throws a spanner in his world about who he is, what's happening here in this big house, what is the other doing. And I loved this book. I really truly did. It's a very high contender for the best books of 2021. It was just incredible. It's short, teeny tiny. I can get through this in 2 days? But it took me a little longer though, because it's so different to anything else I have read, and it's making me really want to get more into witchy books, because it does kind of surround this kind of in a way, but not entirely. It's like different to anything I've read. And this Susanna Clarke is the author of Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, a book I have been wanting to read for the longest time, but it's a big book and I'm just worried it's going to be too dense for me to like. So yeah, I just really want to experience this book again because it was just truly amazing. Had a great time reading it, and I look forward to rereading it sometime in the future. We have here a book that speaks to my soul as a person, Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. So Kath and Ren are identical twins, but we follow Kath. They are both off to university, but Ren, her twin sister, decides that she wants to be separate from Kath because you would want to be your own person. Being a twin, you wouldn't want to be in the shadow of your other twin and just only be known as, oh, just one part of a twin kind of thing. Like you would want to stand out on your own. Kath wants to be a writer. She takes this creative writing class in university because she wants to be a writer. She's been writing fan fiction for this incredibly popular young adult fantasy like book series that is kind of like a Harry Potter but for this world in here of Fangirl. It's like a coming of age story. It really is about life, love, family. I do remember it does have like mental health representation in here, although I wanted that explained a bit more so I know what mental health some of these characters have. And it's about Kath coming into her own, and I loved it, and I love this cover. They also have like a graphic novel series on the way. The first one is already out. First of all, it's bloody expensive, so I was going to buy it, but it was so expensive, and I was like, let me just wait a bit, maybe get it on my iPad or something, I don't know. The next one we have is a booktube darling, The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. Now, this is the like most basic synopsis, and it's basically what the book is about. The circus arrives without warning. No announcements precede it. It is simply there when yesterday it was not. It follows two people who are in competition with each other to become the most powerful magician ever. And I don't want to say too much because it is largely about the circus, and I love this book, but I don't remember a lot that happened, and some things kind of confused me, so I don't think I was like totally ready for it. But now that I've read a lot more books, a lot more heavy, dense books, I feel like I'm ready to reread this now. I feel like Erin Morgenstern could definitely become a favorite author for me. I really do think so. I absolutely love The Starless Sea by her, but this is her most popular book. Everyone loves this book so much, and I want to see if I also love it again because I love The Starless Sea more than this one. Really enjoyed this one. I just think me rereading it, I'll understand a lot more that's happened because there's a lot of things that aren't explained, and it's kind of, you have to use your brain a little bit. The Martian by Andy Weir. A pretty basic plot. A group of astronauts go into outer space to see if we can live on Mars. A big storm happens, and Mark Watney, the poor guy on this page right here, a storm happens, and he is left on Mars, presumed dead. And because the storm is so big that the astronauts decide, let's leave because, the storm is pretty bad, let's get out of here. And Mark Watney is left for dead, or so they believe. It is until they realize, holy crap, he's alive, he is on Mars, and we gotta go save this man. When I read this in the beginning, a lot of the sci-fi talk kind of over the head a little bit, but since reading Project Hail Mary by this author, which is his best book to date, I love that book so much, I want to see if I can understand a bit more. And the movie is also really good too, so check that out as well. We're nearly getting there. My throat is very sore. The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. How can I explain this? As simple as possible, like I always try to do. America. Something happened in America. I think there was like I don't want to say nuclear, but I think it might be radioactive waste. It spills into the lands and the air in America, and women are infertile. They can't have babies. So a plane is hatched to, it's basically like 1950s America, where Gilead is a place where women are only used to make babies. And women that are pregnant get treated like absolute shit. Yeah, it's like a repressive state. So only rich women who are married to politicians, they're fine. They don't have to worry about having babies because a lot of them usually can't. So they round up these women who can, which are usually on the poorer side of life, and their only sole purpose is to make babies. But yet they get treated like shit. You think that they would get treated like queens, but no, they are treated like crap. This book is like, okay, so first of all, this book is different to the TV show. Oh my god, what are the names? Serena and Fred Waterford are old in this book. They are older people, unlike in the TV show where they're kind of like middle age. And also, I like to say that this book is kind of like found footage in book format. And I just love it because in the back, a lot of blank pages at the back, but I'll get there. In the back of the book, oh, for goodness sake, where are you? Historical notes, you see that there? So it kind of like, it's different. It's like found footage in book format where I believe years later at the end of this book we find out that years later it was like what life was like for a handmaid. Oh, I forgot to say the people that can have babies are handmaids. I forgot to mention that. I actually gave this book 3 stars when I first read it. I want to reread it to see if that is the same or if I notice more, if I enjoy it more. Knowing what I know now that it is kind of like found footage kind of thing, like we're following her day-to-day life, I want to see if I actually enjoy this more. These next books I have read all on ebook. First one is In 5 Years by Rebecca Searle. Rebecca Searle, I don't know how to pronounce her last name. I believe it is Searle. This book was severely mass-marketed as a romance when really it was more like a contemporary about living a life to the fullest kind of story. It was a lot more hard-hitting than I expected because it was targeted or marketed, I should say, as romance. I thought it was just going to be romance, but really it wasn't. It is about a woman who has a dream. She has a dream, a very realistic dream that she saw 5 years into the future, and it was about what her life was like. And that is literally the synopsis of the book. Knowing what I know, that it's not really a romance but more a hard-hitting contemporary, I want to see if I enjoy this book more, because I think it kind of felt average for me if I remember correctly. I don't remember what star rating I gave it, to be honest. And yeah, I just really want to reread it to see if I, knowing what I know now, if I enjoy it more. The Chalk Man by CJ Tudor. Yeah, it's just about these group of kids. They draw these like little Chalkman figurines, and then murders kind of happen surrounding the Chalkman, if I remember correctly. Okay, I'm actually reading my notes, and I read this book in 2018. It's 2021 now. So 3 years ago I read it, but I feel like it just kind of fell flat for me. Like, I did give this book 4 stars, but upon reflection, I think it might be more of a 3-star book, and I just want to reread it because I have read The Burning Girls by CJ Tudor. I gave the book 5 stars, loved it so much more. It was incredible. And I just want to see if I like this book more, reading her newer release, if I enjoy The Chalkman a bit more. The last book is All the Light We Cannot See by for goodness sake, not Andy Weir, Anthony Doerr. This is a book, it's a historical fiction book, kind of set around the World War II era, I believe. And it's like a story about these 2 characters coming together from different sides of Europe. We have one little girl who is blind, and her father works in a museum. And we have a little boy who works for, oh geez, YouTube, don't strike me for saying this, but World War II, I think we know who the bad guy is in World War II, who works for that guy kind of thing, but he doesn't really want to, and it's just about how they come together and interconnect, and I think they change their lives. They both change each other's lives, if I remember correctly. I just don't think I was in the right headspace for this. I think I was a bit too young to be reading this, or maybe I just haven't read enough books to fully understand or appreciate what was happening in this book. That's all I'm going to say about that, because that is the reason why I want to reread it. We have a lot of books, and I don't want to get the series, but just Just trust me when I say there's a lot of books I want to reread, like a lot of books I want to reread. So how many books are there? There's like over 20, right? Okay, so there's only 16. We're nearly at 20. Holy cow. Anyway, those are all the books I want to reread. Yeah, I do not know when I will get to rereading these books. Hopefully sometime next year or just in the near future in general. And if you like this video, make sure you leave a like. Are you excited for me to be doing a reread of these books? Do you want to see like a reading vlog of me rereading these books? I've been tossing around the idea of doing like a reading vlog for them. Make sure you subscribe to see more content from me, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!